Hey guys, it's Kathy from Maryland. How's everyone doing? We are finally going to make some clusters. I'm excited about this, and we'll put a few in the journal. I want to show you guys this product I found about a year ago. It's called Soft Finish Cardstock, and you can dye it and spritz it with water and crumple it up, and it's just got this beautiful, almost like suede texture, and it takes dye beautifully. And we're going to use some die cuts, and we're going to make a few flowers for the clusters. So let's get going. Okay, so I've got my splatter box. I'm just going to spritz both sides the soft finish cardstock. I'm using a little bit of Kitsch Flamingo spray stain, some Tattered Rose Distress Oxide, and some of this Mica spray fortune teller. And I'm going to add a little bit more water. Forgot to put my gloves on, so I need to get my gloves on because this is messy. And just kind of crinkle the whole thing up. Roll it into a ball, work it a little bit. You can be rough with it. Take a peek. Sometimes I'll add more color. This time I thought it was saturated enough, so the more you roll it, the more the ink will get into those little cracks and give you that nice textured look. So we're going to move on to the green. I'm using some rustic wilderness spray stain, some cracked pistachio oxide spray, and then some of the mica spray just to give it that shine, the Wicked Elixir. I love the color of this. It's so great. It's like spring green color. So yeah, this is fun. This is a fun project and a little messy, but just have to have a little room to put these out to dry. And there we go. Look at that. I love the oxides, what that does. So moving on, I wanted to add some gold splatter to some packaging paper. So I'm just using some Deco Art in gold and metallic gold and kind of mixed those two. And I've been needing to renew my supply of this anyway. I use this a lot. So, and I also wanted to add some to vellum because I want to use some vellum in this project with the clusters. So there we go. Okay, so my soft touch cardstock is dry. So pretty. I love it. Love, love, love those shades. And when you die cut this will flatten this out, but you're still going to have all that wonderful texture showing there. So I did some gold splatter on the vellum. I did some mica stain on vellum just to kind of put in between layers of these flowers. And then I tried something different I haven't tried before. I took 2 pieces of vellum and I stained them with distress ink and crinkled them just to see what that would look like. This is Crackling Campfire, and this one is Mustard Seed, to use for the little top layers where you want that extra little burst of color. So I am going to use some Elizabeth Craft Design flower dies. I've got the 2041 Floral and this Wildflower, and then the 2117 Florals. So I'm not going to be doing any shaping of these flowers because they're going to be flat in a journal. If I was making a card or something, then I would take all the time, to use a little round dauber and to spritz them and do the round, make them a little bit more three-dimensional, but I'm not going to do that. I basically wanted to just show you guys this amazing soft touch craft paper and how you can dye it and how cool it is. So I've just kind of bunched all my little die cuts together. I'm not going to do this on camera, so I will be right back. I'm going to just die cut some different shapes and some leaves, and then we'll start putting them together and then put some fun little collages together. I'll be right back. Okay, so I decided to use a little bit of aged mahogany and border some of these petals just to give them a little bit of definition and contrast, and I like the way that looks with that pink. I had tried vintage photo on some, and I really like the aged mahogany better. And it works well doing it on the glass like that too. It's easy. So let's assemble some of these pretty little flowers. I took some of the vellum pieces and kind of layered them in between. I tried this. I saw David Rudenberg do this and thought, oh, that's really cool. But my art glitter glue must have been a little too loose, and it was just like running off my hand. I'm like, okay, yeah, that's not really working for me. It should be just like one little dot. So I ended up cleaning that off and just using my art glitter glue point to put a little dot in the middle. What I'm getting at is that you just need a little dot of glue in the middle in between each layer. In retrospect, I really don't like the red and yellow centers. The yellow centers are okay, but as you'll see, as I started building my clusters, I ended up ripping out some of those little red. I kind of knew it too as I was making the staining. Like, this doesn't really go. It's like all of those blue toned inks and then adding that warm red. I don't know. It just bothered me for some reason. So I ended up kind of redoing some of the centers of my flowers, but these are just great. So I made different sizes and had fun putting those together. These big ones, the shape is funky and fun. I just love those. I had a lot of fun doing those. Yep, you can use as many layers as you want. And that star-shaped centerpiece is really cool. I did like the green and the yellow together. So yeah, I think the more tones, the better, the more fun they are, really. And those are a little bit large for clusters actually, but I wanted to try them and just had fun doing those. So yeah, we're looking pretty good here. So I think I have a good number and sizes and variety for the clusters I want to do. Okay, here we go. So I've got a few piles of different pieces that I'm going to use to make my clusters. If you've never seen Cori Dahem's videos on cluster making, she's like the master of clusters. And that's what I love about our community, is that we have different people. They're like go-tos for certain projects. I actually have a playlist on my YouTube channel, try this, save this, you've got to do this type videos. And Cori is one of them for clusters. So she basically has a little formula where she uses a piece of cardstock, a piece of scrapbook paper, a book page, and something with a design. And you'll have to, I'll link her video below, but it's a really nice way to think about clusters. And I've taken that on as a practice for this type of cluster anyway. But one thing that I've realized about myself is I just start gluing things together because there's a lot of moving pieces. So once I decide my general design, I just go ahead and glue them down. And then all the little other elements you can kind of play with. But I just, can't, I just have to start gluing things down, and that's the way I like doing it. I do sew my clusters and add a piece of lace if I think it's appropriate. I really like that vellum on there and just want to add a little tail of that on. So yeah, give yourself a little bit of play with things that aren't glued down, so you can add labels underneath, and the flowers will probably be my focal point pretty much with these clusters. I'm just putting a piece of washi down that edge. I just wanted to show you my zigzag. I did sew down. I decided to keep the thread off white. I didn't want that big black element of thread on there. Just added a stamp. We're going to add a little lace, and sometimes I just glue my lace on, and sometimes I stitch it. I think we just went with glue here. I ended up making like 3 or 4 clusters and forgot to turn the video on. So you'll see them at the end though. So yeah, here I go. I talked about this. I pulled out the red and yellow center and just kind of glued one of the smaller ones in the middle there. I just didn't really like the way that looked. Yeah. They almost look like pansies to me, don't they? So just adding a leaf and that pretty flower. Again, it's easy when you're working with beautiful elements for it to just be a really nice end result. Adding a little, I think every cluster I made, I added a black stamp too. So yeah, we're going to add a little rivet to the top, and I have these little hanging tags that I wanted to add to my clusters. So we're going to stamp it, and I'm using aged mahogany there. And those tags are a little shiny, so you have to give them a little minute to dry. I think I put that one aside before I tie it so it can dry. Yeah, so that's done. Let's make another one. This one was really fun. Of course, I love these colors together, that limey green and the pink. Again, just making my base, getting something with text on it. And once I've got the base figured out, I didn't talk about that. I pretty much trim all the straight edges, and unless I'm adding a piece of lace down that, I don't like the straight edges too much. So getting the base made, just doing some vertical lace. And getting down that base. Yep. So I am going to, I wanted to add a piece of that packaging paper with the gold on it. I knew I was going to be covering up the upper part, so I was okay that it was just a little piece there. I just wanted a hint of that on that little cluster. Just tacking down the lace. I got these beautiful stamps at this vintage shop. There we go. I did the stitching. Yeah, I was so happy to find these stamps. I went to this vintage antique store over the weekend, and they had a beautiful collection of stamps. So I was able to find them by topic, which was great. I was like, do we rip that out or do we just cover it up? I just covered it up. Oh boy. Live and learn. When you have pause about something, you should just stop what you're doing and be like, do I really want to glue these in the center? Just going to put a little postage stamp on here. I like the leaves are hanging off the side, a little bit of the cluster. That'll be pretty in the journal. So I decided to do a little whale tail for the top of this. And of course, this striped scrapbook paper is perfect for this color scheme. So just inking it up a little. Yeah, nice. And I'm going to call that done. On to my last cluster, and then we'll get some of these in the journal. I decided to do, I think this is the last one. There could be one more. I decided to do a bird instead of the flowers, and I'm using some beautiful Elizabeth Craft design scrapbook paper and also some of the Tim Holtz backdrops, and that's actually the paper from my cover, the fabric from the cover of my journal. So I thought that was fun. I found 2 of those pieces that matched what I used for fabric in the journal. And I really like that combo. So just getting things torn down to size. I want to use a little bit of that vintage music paper because it's bird. I thought that was nice. So then I was going to add that to it, and I'm like, hey, wait a minute. Whale tail with those cute polka dots. Yes. Let's do it. With the thicker scrapbook paper, I always use the art glitter glue, and the thinner pieces, I use my little glue stick. So I thought I might try a little bit of this antique doily on here with the bird, just to give a little, break it up a little bit, just playing. I remembered I had those gold sticky numbers, which I ended up adding to almost all of the clusters actually. It just gives a really nice element. And this is nice. I think it's different, and I really like that. I thought, let's add a little bit of cheesecloth under there. I think I was just trying to lighten it up a little bit. So yeah, I just glued a little piece of that down in the back. I feel like the bottom is missing a little something, and I'm looking for a little label, just a little something else with text. And then I ended up putting it on the top, thinking I was going to put it on the bottom, but I like it up there. Again, it just brightens up the cluster a little bit. And then I'm just adding a little number down there. And I found this little gold charm, and I thought it might be fun to hang off of that whale tail there. So let's just get a rivet in here. And I decided to add it to one of those little white coffee dyed tags. But then when I got it on there, I'm like, okay, it covers up the whole bird. That's silly, Kathy. So I ended up making it a smaller tag, taking it off, cutting corners. It's so funny when you watch these things after the fact. It's like, wow, okay. But I'm glad I did it. I think it came out really cute. And I found a really perfect little stamp for that. It was this just random date of February 14th. But it was perfect size for that little square. So tied that all onto the top and called that done. All right, cluster number 4. I decided to add a little bit of blue into this one, and I'm also going to use a little bird. And I don't know if this was part of Elizabeth Craft Design scrap paper. I can't remember where I got that little bird, but it's adorable. Let's get those ends inked. I loved that little piece of collage strip there. Just playing around with lace. Yeah, I got everything sewed down. Just gonna add the bird. So I decided not to use the whale tail and just to put another rivet in the top there and hang a little dangle. Because it's such a wide cluster, I thought that might kind of balance that to have something hanging on the side. And then I thought, hey, I like these and I like the colors. Let's make a tag out of it. What the heck? So that's what I did. Made a little tag out of that paint sample. So I had to take a string out of one of those tags and tie that on. Yeah, that's cute. I think we do a little bit more stamping and maybe add a label here. Yeah. Done. Okay. Okay, let's take a look and see all the clusters. A few of these I made before without you guys, and then I forgot to turn the camera on at one point and did like 4 of them and realized the camera wasn't on, and that wasn't too much fun. So there they are. I love these flowers. I think they are fun. I think you can do a whole lot with them. I had done this one other time and haven't done it in a while, and when I was thinking about clusters and thinking about a little focal point for these clusters, I thought, oh, why don't I die cut some fun flowers, and then I can kind of customize the colors with some distress ink. And so, hey, there you go. So let's see, what do we want to put in this? Maybe I'll just put these on the side. I'm just going to take a minute and maybe put a couple in the journal. And then we'll be done. Thank you for your patience. Thank you for being here. Let's just flip through. I probably should have had, oh, you know, I did do a blue one. I wasn't even thinking, but I don't want to cover up that butterfly because that's pretty, isn't it? The other thing is you could put that on a pocket. That would look really nice right there. This mounted on a pocket. You know what? That's okay. We don't have to do that right now, Kathy. You can just put a paper clip there, and I can come back to that, but I think that would look great on that page. I'm going to do a little pocket out of coffee stained paper probably, and put that beautiful little thing on it. These pages are just so pretty. I'm like, oh, that's a great place for something. These are always a good place to put a cluster, I think. Wow, that's pretty. And I've got the pocket. Yeah, let's put this on there. I think that's really nice on there. And those bags are pretty sturdy. So basically, you know, you've got your cardstock, get some interesting papers. We made that gold splattered packing paper, which I added to a few of them, and I do really like that look a lot in there. I love adding lace to clusters. I like that. All right. Just don't want them to be too close together. This too is a perfect place for a cluster. All right, what might go nice here? Cover up all this is a little bit smaller. Oh, that's pretty. Maybe if we go over a little, you can see the blue polka dots. Oh, yeah. I love that there. I am winding up this journal, guys. And I think next time we get together, I'm going to fill this with all the goodies I have going for it. And I think I am going to wind it up. Oh, that looks great there. I like it. I guess I didn't put any glue up top here. I would like that glued down. That was the other folio. Like little kids. Can't really write on this page, so that could be really pretty because it's kind of a right-sided one. And it's got the gold. Yeah, I like that. All right, that's the last one we'll glue in right now. I will certainly put these in my little ephemera holder and use them in another place. These beautiful clusters, and I might even use another one in here. I just don't want to keep you guys any longer. Oh, yeah. That's great. I'm going to just put a dot on here on that tail. That vellum. Oh, I like it. Yeah, and then these guys will just get put in my little ephemera holder. And anyway, oh, it's coming along, guys. Thank you for being here. Love you. See you next time.